and let's see what it looks like in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, thanks for tuning in. So today's video is going to be a pretty basic one, but I'm sure by the title of the video, I'm not sure what I'm going to call it yet, but I'm sure by the title you're going to be able to know what we're talking about. Today I'm going to be working on replacing some bulbs in my dash cluster or my gauge cluster. This is a very simple thing. I've done it a number of times, going in, pulling out my gauge cluster and working on it. I had my odometer stop working on it one time, and then I went through and replaced most of the bulbs on it another time. So I've had it out a number of times already. So it's not all that bad. But I remember the first time I was doing it, or first time I was thinking about pulling the cluster out, there were no good videos on how to do it. I looked all over. There weren't very many good write-ups. There weren't very many good videos. So I figured I would take the time to actually make a decent video out there so I can help anybody that was in my situation, so they can know just kind of the simple steps of how to do it. So like I said, it is a pretty simple video, but I think it'll be a useful thing for anybody that is doing this in the future. I know it could have been useful for me, so I figured I'd actually take the time to make a good video for you guys. So to get started, this truck is a 2000 F250. I know for sure that this same procedure will work for a 99 to 2003, and it might work for a 2004, but I do know that the 05, or starting 05 and up, they did start to change things in here, so I'm not 100% sure on if it will be the same for that. And I know the OBS's before 99 are different as well. But for anybody using a 99 to 03, this will be a good walkthrough procedure of how to take out kind of this whole part of the dash and then get to your gauge cluster. It is pretty simple. And it might be useful for anybody working on the newer Super Duties, probably not the brand new ones, but maybe 05 to 07 and some of the newer ones. I can't imagine that it'd be that much different from this setup. So at least it'll give you a good idea of what it might actually take to get the dash out. So I guess to kind of start, I'll give you a walkthrough or a brief description of what I'm going to do, and then I'll just put you guys on time lapse or something and let you see what I'm doing. But I have an aftermarket radio. You're going to have to remove your radio. If you have the factory one, there's a special tool that has 2 pins that slide in on each side of the radio here and there that you use to pull the radio out. For me, I can pop the radio out with my hands, so that's not bad. I got a plug here for my light switch. If you have the 4-wheel drive plug, you'll have a plug, or if the 4-wheel drive switch, you'll have a plug to the back of that. All these climate controls stay in on the dash so they don't come out. And then you'll have 2 plugs back here for the airbag switch and the cigarette lighter. And then back here on this side, you're going to have your light switches, and you'll have a plug behind the dimmer switch and a plug behind the actual switch itself. Yeah, I think that's just about it. This dashboard, you'll see when I take it out, but it actually just pops out on its own. And then to help it get started, there's this panel right here that, with the vents in it, that just pops out on its own as well. Pretty simple. So I'm going to start popping all this stuff out and let you guys see it. So now it comes to just popping off the dash, and like I said, it's held on by clips all the way around. Nothing crazy. It is a little scary just pulling on it at first, but it'll come off. And one tip is to actually drop down your steering wheel all the way. It does help to drop your shifter lever down all the way, but it's not necessary. I should say, on your light switch here, I've encountered two different models. One of them where this panel pops out from the front, and you can pull that out, unplug it, and like this one, you have to do it from behind. The ones that you can pop out from the front almost always, or from what I've seen, have a little like a notch down there that you can get a removal tool or a screwdriver in under. If you don't have that notch, don't just pry out on it, because you will break the connectors on it. Ask me how I know. So if you don't have that notch down at the bottom or the top, I think it's the bottom. If you don't have the notch, don't just pry it out. You'll actually have to pop the dash off and then unplug it from behind. You just reach in through that crack right there and get to the plugs. Nothing too crazy, but be careful when you're pulling the whole assembly out. As you can see, I got it all loose now. But don't just pull on it, because you have some wiring back there to be aware of. So I'm going to go through and unclip those and unclip my switch right there. And then I usually end up just leaving those connected and leaving it balanced. But you can make the decision whether you want to pull it all the way out or not. I'll show you what it looks like. So like I said, you got your two plugs over here. The green one is your cigarette lighter. That goes to your airbag controller or module, whatever you want to call it. Then I had my switch there. If you don't have, obviously you guys won't have that switch, but if you have your four-wheel drive switch there, that's what that is going to be. Ironically enough, I have the wiring for it, but it's kind of one of those things where it just plugs into a dummy plug. That's the wiring for my switch. And then over here, you have your two plugs for the headlight switch. Right plug, left plug. Be careful when you're taking them out. They do have clips on them that you can break. I just use a flathead screwdriver, a long flathead screwdriver, to sneak in behind the paddle and push down on these little tabs here. You can see it better on that one, but push down on the little tab there, and then you can just pry it out. There you go, that's a better look. Push down on the tabs, that helps it unclip, and then you just push it out the back. But there you go, those are pretty simple. That's my Hydra switch. And then I usually just make sure I'm not pulling on these wires too much as I let it sit on my cup holder and rest over on the passenger seat. So there, like I said, that your AC or air controls stay in place. They're bolted in place. And now to get the actual cluster out, you have screws on each corner, down there, up there, over there, and down there. So those come out, and then you have to be careful, because your actual gear indicator switch or selector, is wired in or has a cable attaching to it at the bottom that I'll show you. It's kind of hard to show while you're doing it. You kind of need two hands to do it. And then you have three plugs, one there, there, and there on the back side of it, that you pop out as well. You can kind of see the wiring back there for it. But I'm going to undo those 4 bolts, and then I'll kind of see if I can show you what it looks like when it's loose. So now the gear indicator I was telling you about is right there. You see the 2 plastic parts. The white part is where the cable goes into it, and then there's actually 2 black clips, one right behind that white part and one on the other side. And what it is it pops up into place, and so what you have to do to be able to pull that gear indicator out is squeeze them together and pull it down. You'll get a better idea of what it looks like when I actually pull it all the way out. So you just kind of sneak your fingers in underneath, squeeze them together, and it pops right on down. There you go. Now I'll kind of pop that down behind it. And now you can kind of just move you do have a little bit of slack in these wires. I may be showing you guys too much, but I want to make sure it's clear. Here you go, there's those cables back there. You can see one on this side, one in the middle, and then one on that far side. They're basically just like any wire connector. You unclip it and pull it out. So, like I was saying, you have the 3 plugs on the back side of this, one here, here, and there. The 2 outer ones are up on the top where you squeeze down on it. Middle one's in the middle, and that is the back side of the cluster. So now to give you guys a closer look at the connectors. So you got your left connector there, your right connector here. So now on your selector, see that tab there? And it's the same thing on the other side right there, behind the white, but those 2 tabs right here, just squeeze in ever so slightly to undo that hook. And that basically squeeze them in and pull it down, and it just pops. Squeeze them in, pull it down, and it just comes right down out of the bottom of the cluster. Right. Zoom you guys out. So it comes right out of the bottom of the cluster right there. You can see these little plastic parts right here is what those black plastic parts clip onto. Now, this is as far as I'm tearing down this gauge cluster. But if you're doing anything inside of it, it is all just these bolts that hold it together, and you pop it out or separate it, split it in 2. One thing to be aware of if you're actually opening it up all the way is when you take this cover off, be careful not to touch or adjust or move any of these needles because they are preset where they are. And so if you end up actually moving them, then they're not going to give you an accurate reading. So just be careful not to twist or hit or bump those too hard. You don't want them spinning on their actual shafts. What I'm going to be doing, and kind of what the main purpose of this video is, replacing these lights back here. Now your main illumination lights are these black plugs. I'm trying to remember what style bulb they are. So like I thought, these black bulbs are 194s and the smaller ones are 37s or 74s. They go by a number of things, but if you search like 37 LED bulbs, these ones should come up. These ones are 194s. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 main illumination bulbs, and then all your different indicator lights and turn signals, which are those at the top. I think those are all 37 bulbs. And then right here, which is that white bulb right there, is why I'm pulling all of this all the way back out. Which I might have gotten the wrong size bulb for, but that one is also an indicator or an illumination bulb. I don't know why they did it like that. You have all your illumination bulbs that light up all your different gauges, and then all those smaller ones are what light up the individual lights and your turn signals. But what they did for some reason is they made one illumination bulb that controls right here a different style bulb. And so it's not a 194. I'm hoping it's a 37 because that's what I bought, and that's why I'm tearing it all back apart again. If it's not, I'll let you guys know. But that's what it looks like. So you got your illumination bulbs and all your individual lights. Let's see if I can do this by hand. But to undo them, it's very simple. You just take it and twist it counterclockwise, and you can pull the bulb out. Just like that. As far as I know, these bulbs are directional, so if you put them in, don't button everything back up until you test it. But yeah, there you go. As you can see, I already have these ones replaced with LEDs, my main illumination bulbs. And of course, I didn't get that one. When you put it back in, just put it in, twist it pop that clockwise and they lock into place. This is a pretty standard style system that most vehicles use, and it's the same thing on those smaller styles. It looks like that white bulb there is the same size as these. It says a 36 JP bulb. I got 37s, so I guess we're going to see, and you guys are going to learn if I made a mistake. Alright, so it helps to have a set of pliers. Sometimes they can be a little stubborn, but same concept, just twist it about a quarter turn or eighth turn counterclockwise, and it comes out just like that. Now this bulb was not out, it was just much dimmer compared to all the other ones, so hopefully this makes a nice difference. Alright, so we got it out, old bulb out, new LED in. So let's see if I can guess right and put it in the right orientation the first time. Like I said, you just drop it into place and then twist it. It does look like the number 37 works. So now I'm going to just go in and actually plug in these connectors again and then turn on the illumination to see if that bulb works, because I've done this before where it doesn't. Here we go, moment of truth. Let's see if they all light up. And I know you guys can barely see it, but that's the spot we were trying to get, and it looks like we got it. Let me see if I can hold something up for you guys so you guys can see it better. But you can kind of see it, that it's lit up, and of course it's super bright down there because we don't have the gear indicator down there. But I think we got it. Now that that's been bugging me for over a year, I think I finally have it solved. I'll get you guys a better view of it once it actually gets dark. But there we go. It's that easy to replace the bulbs behind your cluster. So I'm going to pop the gear indicator back in. All those are already plugged in, so that's nice. I had to tie this thing back on, or plug it back in to turn it on, but simple enough. Just popped it out of the bracket there. For those of you that have the old or the different style where you don't pop it out from the front, you just simply, there's this little thing back here, and to pop it out, to pop them out, you just squeeze it in, and you can see those little tabs right there. When you squeeze it in, I'll get it for you guys, they slide over and actually line up with holes on the actual bracket itself. So that's how you get this style of indicator out. So like I was saying, on this style of indicator, if you don't have that little notch at the bottom, you're not going to be able to pry it out without breaking something. Because it has those style of clips on it, you actually have to depress that to be able to get it out the front. But it's not too hard. You can either unclip those wires from the back or push in on that and then pull it out the face. But there you go, that's how that one works. The other one just pries out. Alrighty, well here we go. She is all buttoned up and looking pretty again. As pretty as she's going to be. Yeah, it's still a little light out, or it's not that light out, but the camera makes it look lighter. But there you go. I'll get you guys a better look once it's actually dark. But around that 50 to 70 mile an hour mark, as it was totally dim before. Well, everything else was lit up nice and clean. So I'll tell you what, it is very, very nice to have that looking pretty again. I'll come back out once it's a little bit darker so you guys can actually get a good visual of what it looks like. Alrighty, so as you can tell, or as you can obviously see, it is now dark out. Now I can give you a real good look at what it actually looks like when all the LEDs are working and everything's filled in and looking all nice and pretty. I am very, very happy with this because I think when I did that first round of LEDs, it was probably a year ago, and I haven't had the motivation to go back in and actually fix it. I know, like I said, it's not that hard of a thing to do. I just did it like 10 times in a matter of a couple of weeks, and I just like, whatever it works, I want to be done with it. And for the most part, it's not that bad, but it did bother me every time I looked at it, seeing that it was not fully lit up. So it looks much, much better now. Enough rambling, let me show you what it looks like. Turn this light off.
And let's see what it looks like in 3, 2, 1. Much, much better. Now the camera makes them look a little bit extreme. Let's see if I can fix it, but that's a little bit better. But it is really, really good. It's perfect. Fully lit up across the entire spectrum. Center area is lit up well with the odometers. This makes me very, very happy. Now, I will say, or let you guys know, a lot of people would like to put colored LEDs in here, like make it all blue or something of the sort. I tried that, and all the green you see is actually green film. And so that's the reason when you put white LEDs in, it comes out as green, except for those center spots. So if you put colored LEDs in, they're still shining through the green film. I will say that it does give it some of an effect of color. I tried red and blue, and honestly I was very, very disappointed in them. Like I said, that's the reason I went through like 10 different times opening in and out, was because I was trying out different colors. So if you're going to put in colored LEDs, you either need to get a different face for your gauges or remove the green film. I didn't want to deal with that. That is much, much more intensive than this. Requires popping off the needles, tearing it all the way apart. Not worth it in my opinion, but just so you guys know, if you want to run colored LEDs and want it to look clean and clear across the entire spectrum like this, you will have to either replace the gauges or the face of the gauges or pull the film off of them. Alright, well there you go. Like I said, it's really not that hard of a job to do. I do understand it is a little bit intimidating pulling apart your entire dash if you've never done it before. But it really is just removing that faceplate, pulling the radio, and unplugging some sensors and doing a couple bolts. That's really all it is. It's not bad. If you guys have some light bulbs out, I would highly recommend just going in and replacing them. It's not that hard. Hopefully this video gave you a good, clear understanding of what it actually involves. If I left something out, I don't think I did, but if I left something out, as always, just shoot me a question in the comments below and I'll get back to you. I know when I was looking for this video 2 years ago, there wasn't a single good video out there that showed how to do this. And so I figured now that I'm going back in there again and actually have the channel, I might as well make a good video to help people out in the future. I know it would have been handy for me, so hopefully it's handy for you guys or anybody that's watching this at some point in the future. Hopefully it helped you out. I will say that I just ordered another very, very big part for this truck. Was able to work with a company, and they're helping to hook up the channel with an awesome part, something I didn't think I was going to be getting for quite a while. So make sure, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. It should be pretty freaking sweet. I don't know exactly when I'll be getting it on the truck. I got some videos that I want to make kind of building up to it, to do some testing before and after. But it should be in hopefully this next week, and when it does get in, I'll show you guys what it is nonetheless. So if you're not subscribed, definitely subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. To all my current subscribers, if you're interested, there's a little bell icon next to the subscribe button that if you want to get updates of when I upload, you can click it and you'll get updates. I totally understand if you don't want to get updates. I'm kind of one of those people where I don't like getting emails about different things. So I'm not going to beg you guys to hit that alert button. I totally get it if you don't want to, but if you are interested, there you go. I will also say that I will link the different bulbs and stuff that I've used since I know they work now. I'll list the different bulbs that I bought and used in this dash, both the big ones and the small ones, down below, so you guys can see it. Just in general, everything I use on this truck, or just about everything I can get links for, I try to link it down below. So if you guys are interested in a part that I'm using in a video, it should be in the description. And that goes for every single video I upload. There should be a full build list in the description. I think that's everything. I don't want to keep rambling on too long. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully it was useful. I appreciate you guys if you stuck along this far. It means a lot to me. The channel's doing great. So thank you guys very much. I'm having a lot of fun building this channel. Yeah, hopefully you guys have had a good weekend. This video is probably going up on Sunday again. So hopefully you had a good Saturday. Hopefully you are going to have a good Sunday. I'll catch you guys on the next video.